Hi, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to my friend. Well, it's kind of a friend, it's personal, but it's also one of my favorite things from nature. This is a sunflower. I just adore sunflowers because mostly they are probably the tallest, fastest growing, highest of all flowers. Some sunflowers can be 4 meters high, 10, 12 feet. I've planted a bunch of them around my house and they're in the midst of growing. When the flower comes out, the flower actually turns toward the sun. And not only does it turn toward the sun, it follows the sun as it goes across the sky. The sunflower will follow it, but lag behind the sun by 14 degrees. It's very precise. So the sun's going by and the sunflower is following the sun, and it follows the sun all the way over to where the sun sets in the horizon. At night, the head of the sunflower turns around and is exactly positioned within 2 degrees of exactly where the sun will rise on the horizon. Pretty cool. This flower follows it from sunrise all the way through to sunset, lagging behind by 14 degrees. It has its head down like a humble flower, and it's following the sun, but not looking directly at the sun, just following it. Wow. I've pondered and considered what it would feel like if I spent, 12 hours a day or thereabouts, focusing on the rising sun, feeling its presence, watching its journey, feeling its significance. And I'm growing as a sunflower, I'm growing as a result of doing this. At a specific stage of maturity, when it's done with this process of mobilizing, it then stops at, when it gets mature, it stops at exactly 12 noon. So it stays now, the sun keeps going, but it stays right at 12 noon. Wow. And then it turns its head toward the ground in preparation for dropping hundreds of seeds with the theoretic capacity to increase its existence or expression by hundreds of other sunflowers next year. Wow. Wow, could I do that? So I've planted hundreds and hundreds of them. I think the neighbors may think I'm a little crazy because not only did I plant some 12-foot sunflowers and some 10-foot sunflowers, some 8s and some 6s and some 4s, and they even have dwarf sunflowers that are only a half a meter high. So now I have them in clusters and they're starting to all come up. I'm excited. No, they won't be blooming for probably another 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm watching them rise with anticipation. Because you do know this is the sunflower month. The sunflower month is the last month of 6 months of ascending day length that started in the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. So for 6 months, we went through 3 months ascending through winter, and now we're on the third month of ascending from spring, second month, third month. Now we're into the 6-boy month. This 6-boy month refers to the head, 6, boy, forward, which is basically the pituitary as a gland and the brain as an organ. So the 6-boy function has to do with, well, how you use your upper brain hormonal expression, because as you know, the pituitary gland is the master gland that uses hormones to regulate, change, modulate at least 8 other glands. We won't go through the number of them, but the 6-boy gland is capable of communicating to all of them. Now, the interesting thing of that is you and I, we are doing a 6-boy all the time. Whether we sleep, we're awake, or we walk, we're doing a 6-boy. A 6-boy is simply, I'm going to transmit. So if I move my hand and I make a choice to move my hand, it's a choice that leads to emotion. It has an energy, it has an expression. If I use my hand in other ways, violent or otherwise, or aggressive, or I use them as passive, every single thought and feeling and action has an energy, it has a power to it. 6-boy is power. Pause and consider. If you have a moment of personal reaction, which we all do all day without knowing it, but if you have a conscious moment of being frustrated and you're enraged at one thing or the other, the us versus them, or the politics or the religions or the money or whatever, if you're kind of in a frustrated emotional state and you're all alone maybe, or you're talking to someone, but you're just triggered, how far do you think the power of that expression travels? It moves. It has the power of the sun or greater. Yes, it moves into your glands and organs, but particularly your blood, which is a fire, and your adrenals, yes, and your heart, and it moves things through your brain. And yes, it causes inflammation or mobilization, or it causes joy, or it causes rage, or no matter what the emotion is, 6-boy is the transmitter of it. If you have a moment of sadness or grief, or no matter what it is, 6-boy is now transmitting that. Where? Yes, inside you, inside your body, but where? Yes, to a gland, an organ, a joint. Yes, where your joints hurt or are in pain. Your body's in pain, wherever it's in pain. It's a 6-boy that did it. You did it, right? Could you consider that the action of that rage or expression goes down to your children, to your yet unconceived great-grandchildren? Does that feeling go into the community? Does it affect life, trees, animals around you? Does it affect other people? Does it affect the region where you live or the country? How far does that go? Does it circle the globe? Does it affect all living things? Does it go off the planet? Does a 6-boy choice of power goes out and, tickles aliens? Does it go into the spirit world? Do your choices end up influencing in some way, healthy, not so healthy, loving, not loving? Do spirits utilize your emotional strata, whether you suppress them or not? because most people live in a suppressive form of numbness, but behind it, that's still being transmitted. So it's all being transmitted. That's this whole power of the sixth boy. So my suggestion is just consider it. If you were to say, okay, I'm wishing for the moment to understand or explore the reality of this, what would be the ultimate use of authority or power? What would you choose? I can't say for you what you might choose. You can't say for me what I might choose, but we all choose all the time. Even if we're sleeping or we're sitting still or watching television, we're still choosing. And there is a projection of our feelings, our content, our belief systems, our facade, our joy, our laughter, our love, our optimism. That's all being transmitted. No matter what it is, we're transmitting 100% of the time. Wow. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention to give you something to consider. But, you know, if you're out at the nursery one day and you see one of those sunflowers, the dwarf ones are fine. The little ones about this big, they're really very pretty. And some of them are coming on now. Greenhouses are growing. Maybe take it home and consider, what is the highest use of your, what do you want to call it? Self, person, soul, being, consciousness. What is the highest use that you can aspire to in this moment? You might think about that. Sunflower following the sun. See you again.